fail to understand is that teachers can determine your future. Where if a teacher likes you and teachers invested in you, a teacher will ensure that you succeed. No matter how difficult it takes, they will be proud of what they have achieved. I'll give a little example. The other day, I was in the fueling up the ESCO here, and I'll never forget, I saw my business teacher, and he walked, I was like, oh, Mr. Madhav. He's like, yeah. I was like, what are you doing now? And I was like, oh, I'm an analyst. He's like, oh, that is really good. I'm really happy for you guys. And he was like really invested in my educational journey, where someone who doesn't give that teacher the respect and the kind of discipline, saying, you know what, I don't really care. If you give your teacher stress, again, why would they want to invest in you, you know? So the teacher-student relation involves you giving your teachers respect, and that respect will help you. They'll help you with your CV, they'll help you with your personal statements, they'll help you with just connecting you with people, especially in terms of networking. Networking doesn't start when you're older. Networking starts when you're younger. These teachers, they know people. They're not just teachers because they went to a university and they did a degree, but they also know people in the industry who can help you. Next thing is assignments. Again, this is quite a shock. I never knew you were given one assignment for a week. I knew you grew up with six books, and you need to have them ready for the next day. You don't have them ready for the next day, you're in trouble. So when my teachers used to give me assignments, I do them by evening, and I'll go, oh, next time. So, oh, excuse me, miss, I'm done. They go, you're done already? I'm like, yeah. And that is quite shocking to me, because, you know, the more work you're given, is the more you practice your craft. And the more practice you put into your craft is how you succeed. That's how you essentially break the barriers. That is putting practice into your craft, and this is something that I took from when I first landed into this country until now, where it's constantly practicing your craft. So when they give you one assignment, it doesn't mean you do that one assignment and you sit down and say, I'm done, I'm just going to sit down and watch TV. You need to be proactive in the sense of you need to ask for more work, and this is going to kind of lead into the whole exams bit, where you're categorized under two, especially for GCSE secondary. It is either you do foundation or you do higher. So I'll kind of give a little difference. Is foundation is, I don't know the new grade boundaries, but back in my time, it was highest level you'd get is C. So it doesn't matter if you get 100% on that paper, you get C. That is your highest. But if you go higher, so if you get 100, you get A, B, C. You can get lower, but you're not capped to a certain extent where you're limited. So if a school says, we want you to have 8 A to Bs, but you're only doing foundation, you're limited. And you don't want that. You don't want to come to a country where there's a land of opportunities and so many opportunities, and you're already capped from the beginning. If you're capped now, you're going to be capped in the future. So you want that your child or yourself to be able to achieve the highest mark possible. And that means you have to work extra hard, not depending on one exam or not depending on one assignment. And I think I can attest to it, because it was a huge gap where when I left Kenya's system, it was like I was in year 7. So, and then when I came here, I had to either go to year 11, so basically go to Form 4, I'll put it in Kenyan terms, for Form 4. So I went from Form 1 straight to Form 4. I didn't have no middle, so I had 3 years to kind of catch up, but I didn't have 3 years to catch up. I had 1 year and 6 months. I literally had to learn the entire British system. I had to learn not the English, I knew how to speak English. I had to learn the math, the science, the history, the computer science, the business. I had to learn all of that. And that did not come from me just depending on one assignment. So, but then the schools also provide you with clubs and activities. So this is after-school clubs where they offer math, English, PE, that kind of extra help provided by teachers. to ensure that you have to bridge a gap. And I went to English. I used to go to English classes, not because I can't speak English, but because I had to understand how to answer the English questions. I think I can say that one of the hardest exams that I did was English. It was because I'm a math person. Math is easy because it's repeated over and over and over. You kind of see a pattern, and that's what led to me doing what I do, because I'm able to see trends and patterns. Whereas English, they can just say today, we're going to give you this book, and you kind of have to see, you can't interpret. That teacher, I remember, hopefully she's still there to this day. I'll go back and say thank you, because that teacher was so, again, the respect I gave the teacher, she was so invested in me passing. I remember she used to be like, Teddy, do this, Teddy, do that. You're in my class, and it wasn't the top set, but because she took me on under her wing, and she was so like confident in my ability that she put me up in early entry. So early entry is a type of exam, so where you do your exam between May and June, you do your exams. Whereas early entry, this is where you do it either year 10 or year 11, but you do it earlier than the other students. So I just put in early entry, and I remember I did papers, like hundreds of papers. We used to do hundreds of papers every line we'd practice. And I remember it was the day for the results. So everyone's opened their results, they're all happy. I got A, I got B, I got C. And I was so scared. I think my hands were shaking. I was like, oh, I don't know. I think I failed because, again, I'm not really that good at English literature. And I remember when I opened that paper, I just remember I saw A, and I was like, I remember I jumped and I said, I got A. And my teacher was like, oh, thank you. Like, you done really well. And that's kind of what the being proactive and working and kind of these little things that I'm telling you, they kind of help you build your own, you'll start to fit in, where the practices that I did, the teachers' respect, that was the first time that I saw the work that I did, the hard work that I did paid off. And that kind of motivated me to, continue doing work. And I know that's towards the end for the parents, but I'll give an example is where my mom used to wake me up early in the morning. And me, I'm not an early person. She's sitting at the back there. She's feeling a bit embarrassed, but she's there with the yellow. So she used to tell me that she did GCSEs, because she used to come printing papers. When I say I have assignments, and I have homeschool, and I have school. Homeschool is those first 3 months, I don't know anything. Literally, we're doing papers and papers and papers and papers. Every day, I have a new paper. And it's not one. It's like 2, 3, 4 different papers. She was like pushing. Ted, you need to do this. Because again, there was a gap. I didn't know what to do. And this is something for parents where I'd say is know what your child is doing in school. Ensure that the content and the curriculum, you know it. If you know what your child is doing, you can identify your child's weakness. She never really had to focus on math, but she had to focus on other things. Sciences, English, that kind of stuff. So where if you know what your child is doing, you can even have a talk with the teacher and say, I just realized that my child is not really good in A and B. So can you please focus on A and B? And that helps you feel so confident your child going to an exam hall where you even know your child can mark their paper. I could mark my own math paper in an exam. My math GCSE paper, I marked it before I left that hall. And I went home and I said, this is the grade I have. And here, the grade came, and that was the grade I got. Because I knew my weaknesses and my strengths, I was able to mark it myself and just say, you know what, this is the grade, I'm confident, and I can go on to the next one. I didn't have to think twice. So in terms of after you do your exams, your GCSEs, what is there for your child, or what is there for you going forward? You have either to go to A-levels or college. I personally went to A-levels. I think, when you come from a different country, you hear college and you're hearing, college is like not the best. Obviously, I didn't know that much, but also colleges do offer opportunities just similar to A-levels. They do offer A-levels, the certification, let me put it that way. So in terms of why I didn't want to speak a lot about friend groups in secondary school is because I didn't have a lot of time there. So the dynamic that you get in secondary school, especially for your child, is you want your child to be as authentic as possible. Don't let your child, or don't you try to force yourself to be something that you're not. A lot of children, I don't know about nowadays, but back then, they could call you out. They'd be like, oh, why are you trying to speak this way? Why are you trying to, and that would lead you to kind of being bullied. And bullying doesn't mean like physical altercations, it's also manipulation, where they would make you do things for them, they would force you, they would peer pressure you into doing things. So in terms of secondary school, and also for parents, if your child is also kind of going through something, especially in school, just teachers are there. Go to teachers. There's a the form tutor is your kind of first contact between your child and the school, or the child and the go to the form tutor. They can raise any concerns, and then from there they would go to head of year, and then they could be raised to like the school administration. So if your child has any issues, pressing issues, just encourage them to go to the form tutor, and then you can follow up with that with the head of year. So it's quite good that if you're involved in your child's life, you're ensuring that your child is safe, especially with the nowadays prevalent mental health. You know, you don't know what someone's going through, especially mentally, because mental health also affects you physically. If you're mentally drained, physically you'll be drained as well. You're not going to be happy to go into school, because again, you feel like, why do I need to be here? And that kind of sets you back, and you're already behind. So second, A-levels, I think A-levels is what teaches you, or A-level/college starts you into adulthood. You're a young adult at this point, you're kind of 16, 17 there, heading into adulthood. And what I can say is they don't follow you that much, where it's not like university where I wouldn't say they don't care, but it's not like university where you are responsible for 90% of the work you do. It is, they give you an assignment, and they'll be like, okay, I need you to do this. But if you just do that, they expect you to do further reading. So further reading is where you read a couple pages ahead, a couple chapters ahead, ensuring that by the time you go to the next class, you know what the teacher is going to be talking about, you have notes down already, and that's kind of what A-levels taught me. That was kind of the most change from secondary school or GCSE level. And another thing is that they expect you to kind of have an idea of what you're going to do after. I'm not saying know what you want to do, but have an idea. So this way where they can help you and guide you into the after A-levels. Because I think until you're here, mostly you're handheld. And then after that, they want you now to be your own person. So that's kind of what I would recommend, especially if your child is coming here and going into college or A-levels. Ensure that your child is, or yourself, any young people, ensure that you are always looking for the next thing. You're always looking ahead and seeing, this is what I am going to do. This is what my plan is. And another thing, put your plan onto God. Literally, I cannot emphasize that always putting your plan to God is like something that I can attest to, which I'll tell you in the end. So in terms of friends groups, I think when you join a new school, there's always certain cliques that have been built for years. You see like people have known each other from, especially like primary school, where I don't know, so and so, they went to the same class from year 1 until year whatever. So these friend groups are there. Now, what you need to first identify is avoid the bad groups. A lot of people, what they do, they try to tell you and like, oh, you know, like we're gonna do this, we're not gonna go into lesson, we're gonna like be class clowns, and we're gonna just disrupt the classes. And those friend groups are there where they try to just distract you from your goal, from your vision, from your objectives. That's what they want to do. They want to distract you because they see something in you. They see something in your child where this child can prosper and they can be something, they can come from a different country where they undermine. I think, you know how people, they say, I come to the UK, but a lot of people, they categorize Africa. Literally, I say I'm from Kenya. Oh, you're from Africa. Oh, if someone says I'm from Nigeria, you're from Africa. They don't see that individuality in you. And that's something that you also need to encourage, where you need to be your own individual, where you're not from Africa. I'm from Kenya. I'm not from Africa. And what people don't realize, you saying that there's also someone who is in a higher position, they'll be like, I'm from Kenya. Yeah, and I know this person. I know what they've gone through, and I would like to help them out. So by you being your own authentic individual, it makes you stand out what other students are doing. If they want to be from Africa, that's fine. But you are from Kenya. And they will say, that person from Kenya say, oh, it's Ted from Kenya. It's not Ted from Africa. There's a million Teds or a billion Teds in Africa, but there's one Ted from Kenya in that company, So again, they do offer clubs and activities in this school. So something that is really nice about education in this country, that they do offer activities. This is not just about playing sports. They help you nurture your gifts and your hobbies. When I was in Upton, they helped me in terms of nurturing. By this time, I knew I wanted to do computer science university. And they kind of taught me coding. They were like, this is what you'd expect coding-wise. This is what's the next big thing. And they help nurture your child's abilities and gifts. And again, just be involved, especially parent-teacher evenings. I'll give you a tip. This for the students, be nice to the teachers. Because if you're nice to the teachers, they say nice things for you in the parent-teacher evening. For the parents, just go. And then sometimes be aware, because sometimes because of teachers have a lot of students to go through, the teacher will try to generalize it, where they'll be like, oh, he's just doing well, yeah, he's okay, but kind of try to extract as much as possible from the teacher. So what is he doing well? Where is he failing? What can he do and what can he not do? What can we do to help him, to give him that extra support to help him mitigate those weaknesses? What can we do? So, and in A-levels again, so that's what you kind of need to do, is you have two types of exams. I don't know if they've changed. That was 5 years ago. You have AS and you have A-levels. AS is the first year of A-levels, so year 12. This is, for me, I took it as a gauging system to gauge where I am at, and how would I perform in A-levels. So it was like a trial but then back then, if you didn't, you get kicked out of school. That was, I don't think they do that anymore. But it was like, if you don't get the lowest, so the lowest grade was E. If you don't get E, so there was A, B, C, D, E, U. So if you don't get E, you get kicked out. So you didn't get kicked out because you're bad, but they just because I think they try to keep the results looking good. And AS, yeah, so AS kind of gives you a trial for like your future marks. And also it helps you when it comes to writing your personal statements. So if you want to go to university, whatever you want to do after A-levels or college, it helps you into writing your personal statement. So this is who you are, why are you interested in this university, or why are you interested in this company. So that's what kind of AS is. And then A-levels now is the real thing. It's what determines you're going to university. And you could either get, I forgot the name. It's an offer. There's two types of offers. I don't know. Does anyone in the crowd remember? There are two types of offers you get for university. It's like, sorry? Yes, conditional and unconditional offer. So conditional is where you have to achieve this grade to get into university. If you get unconditional, that means you're basically in. But that doesn't mean that you fail university. You fail A-levels because you're in. You have to still get those grades, but you're assured that your place is already marked. So that's kind of the exams your child or yourself would see in university, in A-levels. And then from there, now you're also in this year 13, you're introduced into writing your personal, what they kind of nurture you into what you want to do after. So they'd put you, I remember we had classes on cooking, we had classes on writing personal statements, hygiene, And yeah, so they kind of prepare you for university. And then after that, you have, so there's nowadays, it's kind of more out there than it was back then. There was degree apprenticeships and university degrees. So for the difference between a university degree and a degree apprenticeship is degree apprenticeships are paid for. So the company would take you on, the company would pay for it, and then they would send you to a certain school, and you'd work. So you'd do, let's say, 3 days at work, 2 days at university, or so and so, that the dynamics are different based on the company. And the university degree is you yourself, you apply for university, and you go into university and do this. And something that is not spoken about a lot is if you're going to go to university, you're going to have to pay for it. And student finance, they take 3 years. So you have to be in this country for 3 years for you to be able to qualify for student finance. A lot of people come and they just expect to go to university, but it's not spoken about. I was fortunate enough when I came here. The year when I was applying for university was exactly 3 years. So when I applied for university, I just had to just say, yes, prove I've been here for 3 years. So a lot of people, I know a girl who had to take an extra year out so that she can match the 3 years. She had the grades, but she had to take the extra year out. So whenever your child is coming to the UK, ensure that by the time they're applying for university, that they've been here for 3 years. And even if the time has gone, what can your child do in the meantime so that they're not losing out? And that what I can advise is boot camps. So these are like websites where they offer training into the degree that you want to go into, projects that they can do. There are also workshops that are available for you to not lose track of what you wanted to do. So you go into, they train you, and what you'd find is by the time you go into university, or by the time you go into what you want to do next, you have an understanding. You're not just going there willy-nilly, you're not going there blindly, you're going there with an idea of what you want to do. And so that leads into university. University, again, this is where the university is where, the university is where you're on your own and you do, it's all about you. The teacher wouldn't ask you. If university had parents' evening, there's some teachers who'd see your parents and be like, I've never seen this person in my class before. Because some people just do not attend. So you have to be, what's the word? You have to be proactive. You always have to be sure that what you're doing is what you want. So can we just go to the next slide so I can, it's kind of going forward. I'll just summarize it a bit so I'll close it off with a bit of, for parents, again, I've spoken about this, is familiarize yourself, encourage revision and exam papers. There's literally, you see patterns in exam papers. You see how they set the same questions. I would like to believe that some people can be quite lazy where they set the same questions and then they just word it differently. So they set the same, the layout is the same. That time, my mom knows I hated the timetable that we used to do, but it used to pay off. I didn't like following a structure at first, but once I learned to follow a structure, is a skill that I have used until nowadays, where I set myself tasks and I do tasks according to a certain time and period. Make use of libraries, go to a library, grab an array of books to bridge that kind of vocabulary. There's lingo that you may not necessarily have known when you came to this country, but by you kind of being into books, reading, ensuring that you're exposing yourself to as much as possible, and reach out to other members of the community. I'm sure there are teachers in the midst of your community. There are people who have experiences that can help your child or help you into achieving what you want to achieve. And for students, again, be proactive, have a plan. I had a plan. I knew when I came to this country, I knew what I wanted to do, and when I was like a few months, and I realized I wanted to do computer science. And I remember the year before, when I wanted to do my master's, I saw my mom, let's sit down, this is what I want to do, and I prayed for it. And lo and behold, I was able to achieve what I'd set my ideas off, and because I know not a lot of people that go to university and they get what they wanted to do quickly, but I was able to see that. And remember, I'll be very honest, it's not an easy road. No one's going to tell you that. They'll just tell you do it, but it's not easy. It is blood, sweat, and tears, sacrifices. I remember I used to study in the middle of the night and just go to school like it's normal, to a point where I literally got sick. That was the first time my parents have ever been called to school to pick me up. And not because my parents asked me to study, but because I was hungry for that success. I knew my parents had sacrificed so much to come here that I need to make it. It's make it or make it. There's no plan B for me. It is either I need to make it or I make it. So, and then please, can you just go to the next slide? So, I did add some few useful links. So, in terms of kind of helping, especially in what I used to get to where I've gotten. So I did add, especially for those who don't know what they want to do with careers. There's career fairs, there's university fairs, some career guidances and university guidances, career resources. So if you're applying for jobs, so they're job postings, so internships, that kind of stuff, graduate schemes, they're there. Eventbrite. Even though your child may be, let's say, 16, 17, they can still network with people. Make sure if they can have a LinkedIn early, set up your LinkedIn, go to these events, meet people in the field that you want to go into. They will help you out. A lot of people, majority of times, even me, who has a job to this day, I go to events, I go to these networking events. After work, I go. I meet people from different fields, I hear them, and they open up your mind. I remember one time we went to recently, is a medicine one. I don't know, I'm not in medicine, but because it's medicine and technology, it's how do people use technology in medicine? And that kind of opened my head, like, yeah, I could probably like one day transition into a medical institution and take my skills there. And for GCSE students or even A-levels, Revision World, it has all the resources, papers, so do not be afraid to use the papers. It is, the format is the same, the wording is different. And yeah, so I think I'll just leave it there. Due to time, I think do I have 5 minutes for a little question and answer? 5 minutes?
Session after this.
Session after, all right. So I think we'll have a session after for a little Q&A. If you do have any questions, please do ask. Thank you very much.
Someone appreciate Ted? Parents in the house, I'm quite sure that was informative. Do you agree with me, parents in the house? Good. So we are so honored to have our next guest who's coming up here. We are so honored to have our local Slough area MP, and that's none other than Tan Desi. Please help me appreciate Tan Desi as he comes up stage.
Gentlemen, it's a pleasure to be here once again with your good selves. I want to thank and commend Higher Heights Church UK. I want to thank you to my good friend Isaac Commando, the entire team, for all of the work that they're doing, and also for very kindly inviting me here again today. All right. All right. I think it's going on and off, yeah? Brilliant. All right, hopefully you can hear me better now. But yeah, thank you very much to Higher Heights Church UK and all of the team for the incredible work that you are doing to help integrate further our Slough community. Now, I also want to appreciate the previous speaker because of him explaining his journey from Kenya, the education system that was there, to the changes within the UK, but also taking you through step by step as parents, but also as children, as to the huge changes that there are in the UK system. and what he had to grapple with and how he succeeded. Now, that is an amazing expose of what can be achieved through hard work. In fact, it's similar to some of the things that I had to face in the sense that even though I was born in the Slough area, so I was born here, but when I was 4, my parents sent me out to the Punjab, sent me to India, where I studied for about 4.5 years. So that's where I did most of my primary schooling. And they did so, and I appreciate to this day that move, because they wanted me to get the best of both worlds. So to appreciate British culture, for the country of my birth, they wanted me to be conversant in English and appreciate all the things here, but they also didn't want me to lose touch with our roots, my ancestral heritage home within the Punjab, within India, to be at one with that aspect of my identity as well. So that is one of the reasons why I ended up becoming multilingual, ended up becoming more aware of cultures around the world. And it is, in fact, it was for me a major change when I came back to the UK, where I did obviously the rest of my primary schooling and then secondary education and then university, was where for the first couple of years I had to quickly catch up on certain things that I was behind on, but then there were other things that I was actually ahead on. So there was mixed experiences, but I was to the help of my parents, thanks to the help of my teachers, and as you rightly explained, professions that everybody has a great deal of respect for. We to this day, or I certainly do, remember those teachers that made an enormous, and we held them in such high regard. In fact, when I met up with some of our teachers just recently as well, and we were having a conversation, I was saying, yes, Mr. Simpson, Mr. Simpson. And he goes, no, it's Brian. Don't worry, it's Brian. I could not bring myself to use his first name because we were so used to, at that young age at school, calling them, yes, sir. So, appreciate your teachers and give them the high level of respect that they deserve, because they are helping you to advance in life. I couldn't have got to where I've got to without